Привет, я Koen, and today I'm going to review the entry of Ukraine at Eurovision 2023, TVORCHI, with the song Heart of Steel. Ukraine chose the Eurovision entry with the national final Vidbir again, despite being attacked and being in the middle of a war. Their national final was held in a metro station in Kiev, which served as a bomb shelter. A total of 10 entries competed in this national final, which was eventually won by TVORCHI. They tried to represent Ukraine before in 2020 with the song Bonfire, with which they ended on the 4th place out of 6 participants. After that national final, the lead singer of TVORCHI said that they would not be returning to Vidbir because he claimed that the results had been fixed against them to win. The jury later denied these accusations, but they still returned this year, which was pretty remarkable since the post of Jeffrey said, "See you never, Eurovision," but you know, a lot can happen in a short amount of time. Two other artists who also participated in Vidbir in 2020 returned to Vidbir this year. Jerry Hill, who ended on the last place in 2020 with her song Vegan, returns to Vidbir this year with her song When God Shut the Door, and Krut, who ended on the 2nd place in 2020 with her song 99, returns with her song Koriskova. They were seen as the two big favorites to win. After Vidbir took place and TVORCHI won with Heart of Steel, there was also a bit of a controversy. Krut claimed that TVORCHI violated the rules of the contest because the main vocals were being duplicated during the live performance. She also claimed that the distribution label of TVORCHI, called Believe, still operates in Russia, but both of these things weren't really seen as issues to impact the results of this national final. On the 9th of March, TVORCHI released a revamp of Heart of Steel, which is the official Eurovision version, which had some instrumental changes and also included some Ukrainian lyrics. I watched the national final Vidbir and I was very impressed. I mean, they organized this national final in a metro station, like you couldn't really see that, it literally just looked like a TV studio. And I had some favorites, like Jerry Hill and Krut. They were actually my two biggest favorites who I wanted to win, but TVORCHI was my 3rd place. So I'm still happy with the overall results, because Krut ended on the 2nd place again and Jerry Hill ended on the 3rd place. So, you know, I'm happy with the overall results. And I didn't really expect TVORCHI to win beforehand, but when I watched the national final performance, I was surprised in a positive way. I gotta say that I do feel like the verses are stronger than the chorus is, but not in a way that it really bothers me or anything. By the way, something I also think is pretty funny is that a lot of people who are like casual Eurovision viewers who I've seen react to this song, I've seen them say things like, why are they sending a song in English all of a sudden? They always send stuff in Ukrainian. And that's not really true. I mean, the last 3 entries of Ukraine have been fully in Ukrainian, that's true, but before that they mostly sent fully English song entries. So I mean, that isn't really that weird, I think. Anyway, they added Ukrainian lyrics to the revamp, so they're still sending a song with Ukrainian in it. I gotta say that the line that they replaced with the Ukrainian lyrics just happened to be my favorite line of the old version, but then again, it's still my favorite part of the song because now it has Ukrainian in that part, you know? So I think TVORCHI did a good job with the revamp. Like, they didn't really necessarily bring any big changes to the song, but still changes big enough to notice and to see that it's a better version of the song, in my opinion, if you get what I mean. I do wonder what the performance on the Eurovision stage will look like, because the song isn't necessarily about war or anything like that, but the national final performance did have some references to war or this apocalypse-like feeling, and I do wonder if that will be allowed on the Eurovision stage, because I'm not sure if it will be allowed, but I guess we'll see. I'm very curious to see what Ukraine will do staging-wise. I mean, I think a performance like that could cause some controversy among the casual Eurovision viewers. I'm not sure if the EBU will allow it, but either way, I'm very curious to see what the Ukrainian staging will look like this year. I'm already really happy that Ukraine gets to host Eurovision. Sure, it's not in their own country and it's together with the United Kingdom, together with the BBC in cooperation, but still, I think it's really nice that they still get to share their culture and their country with the whole world, despite it not being hosted in their own country. I'm also really happy that Yulia Sanina is one of the hosts. She is the lead singer of the Hard Kiss, which is a band in Ukraine, which also participated in Vidbir in 2016. They ended on the 2nd second place, just behind Jamala, who then went on to win the Eurovision Song Contest in 2016. I've always hoped to one day see the Hard Kiss on the Eurovision stage again. Now we see Julia Sanina on the Eurovision stage as a host. I still kind of hope that they will one day maybe return to Vitbir and try to represent Ukraine and manage to represent Ukraine. I would really like to see that, but either way, I'm happy that Julia Sanina is now part of Eurovision. Look, as much as I like the song, I don't think Ukraine will win for a second time in a row. I also don't really get how people are saying that Ukraine will win again no matter what because it's Ukraine and because of the war, just like last year, because that wasn't the case last year. Sure, the war played a role in their victory, but they did not win just because of the war. The song was also just very good and original and already would have been a contender for the victory if they wouldn't have been representing a country in the middle of a war. But you can hear my thoughts on that in my review about Ukraine's entry last year. I think Ukraine still has a chance of ending up in the top 10, especially since they're performing as 19th in the grand final, which is pretty near towards the end of the show, but I don't think a win is in the cards for Ukraine this year. So to conclude, despite TVORCHI not being one of my two favorites to win the Ukrainian national final this year, I'm still happy with them representing Ukraine this year. I also think the revamp improved the song, so I think Ukraine has a solid entry once again. I don't feel like Ukraine will win for a second time in a row, but a top 10 result does feel realistic to me. And that's about all for now. What do you think of Heart of Steel? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully until next time. Do pobacenia!